Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Birch and Lily, where I talk about all of the crafty goodness that I have been up to over the past couple weeks. Today is a little bit of a different video. I'm going to be showing you how to cable without a cable needle. So I already have some stitches cast on and knit, just a tiny little swatch here on magic loop. I do have a tutorial of how to do magic loop. I will make sure that is linked down below for you if you're interested. But we're going to do some cables. So I'm only going to show you probably a 1x1 cable and a 2x2 cable in this video today. But everything works exactly the same for any number of cables. You just have to adjust it accordingly. So I'm going to knit a couple stitches here before I put the cable in. Okay, so let's start with a 1x1 cable. Let's say I want my cable to be leaning towards the right. What I'm going to do, because that will go in the front, I'm going to grab the second stitch that I want with my needle and just leave that there. Now I'm going to take this stitch here, which is going to switch spots with this second stitch on my needle. So I am grabbing the second stitch on my needle with my right hand needle, and then grabbing the first stitch on my needle with my right hand and pinching it nice and tight. And then I pull that stitch off, the second stitch. Then what I do, because I know that this is crossing in the front for a right-leaning cable, pop that stitch that I'm holding with my fingers back onto my left needle, then come around and pop stitch number 2, which is now stitch number 1, back onto my left needle. So those stitches have now crossed, and we can knit them, and you have done a cable without a cable needle. So let's do that again. I'm going to take, we are doing a right-leaning cable. So I'm going to take my right needle, grab the second stitch on my left needle, and just leave it there for now. Then I'm going to take my right hand, grab the first stitch on my left needle, and hold it nice and tight. Then slide that stitch we grabbed with the needle off. Now this stitch that I'm holding in my fingers, I'm going to pop back onto the left needle, then take the one I slid off, and also pop it back onto the left needle. You've done a right cross. A right leaning cable. Okay, let's do a left one. So with a left leaning cable, this first stitch is coming across the front. So we need to grab things a little bit differently. You're going to take your right needle and go behind that stitch and grab the second stitch with your needle. Then you're going to, again, pinch this stitch and pull it off and hold it nice and tight. You're going to slide the second stitch off as well and onto your right needle. Take the stitch you're holding, put it back on the left, take the stitch on the needle, also put it back on the left, and knit them. So you always want the stitch going in the front of the direction you want it to cable. So when I want to do a right leaning cable, I'm grabbing the second stitch and it's moving across the front to the right. And when I'm doing a left leaning cable, I'm grabbing this back stitch here, and this stitch, the first stitch, is moving across the front to the left. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's do another 2x2 left leaning cable. So my right needle is going to grab from the back the second stitch, just leave it there for now, and pinch the first one and hold it in my hand, pop the second one off, move the one I have pinched back to my left needle, then move that other stitch that I put on my right needle back to the left needle, and I can knit them. There's another left leaning. Okay, I've ran out of yarn there. Let's do some 2x2 cables on the other side. Okay, So let's start again with our right leaning cable. A 2x2 cable is going to use up 4 stitches because 2 stitches are moving across 2 stitches. So same concept as before, but we're grabbing 2 stitches with the needle and we're pinching 2 stitches with our hands. So we're going to take our right needle here and pick up 2 stitches and leave them there. They're held nice and tight on the needle. Then we're going to slide 2 stitches off the front 2. So we've grabbed the back 2 with the needle. We're going to grab the front 2 with our hand, pinch them nice and tight, pop those back 2 off, and they're held on the needle. Now we're going to take the 2 that we're holding, put them back on the left needle, take the 2 resting on the right, put them back on the left needle, and you're ready to knit your 2x2 cable. There you have it. So let's do a left leaning one. Because the concept is the same as the 1x1, we'll just do one each of a 2x2 cable. So if it's leaning to the left, these 2 stitches we want to be moving across the front and facing to the left. So we're going to go in the back here, grab the 3rd and 4th stitch on our left needle. Now they're held nice and tight, so we don't even have to worry about them. We're going to pop off the front 2 stitches and hold them nice and tight in our fingers. Then pop off these 2 stitches off of the left needle onto the right. Now put the 2 stitches you're holding in your hands back onto the left needle. Then grab the 2 stitches that are resting on the right needle back onto the left needle so that they've crossed over. So you can see these 2 stitches here, these 2 stitches here were originally in the place of these 2 stitches. So that's what a cable is. It's basically just crossing some stitches over each other. So now we're all ready on our left hand needle here to knit the stitches because we've crossed them. And you have a left leaning cable. So let me just knit across so I can show you all of these finished. So across the front here you can see our 2 sets of right leaning 1x1 cables, our 2 sets of left leaning 1x1 cables. And on the back, first we have our first set of right leaning 2x2 cables, and then a set of left leaning 2x2 cables. Hopefully this video has helped you all out a little bit. If you have any questions, of course, please feel free to ask me down below. And if you do need to see it again, of course, you can watch the video over. You can also slow a video down on YouTube. Slow the speed it's playing at. So if this is a little bit too fast for you, I would highly recommend doing that so you can see it at a little bit of a slower speed. Hopefully learning to do cables without a cable needle is helpful for you. I know it definitely speeds up my cable knitting. Thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. If you like what you saw today, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. And I will see you all again in the next one. Bye!